The first question is, what do you think about animals in general?
I mean, if you ask me, I just love animals.
You love
Yeah, I
animals?
just love keeping pets.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the second question is, what do you think about animal abuse and people who abuse animal?
I mean, it's cruelty.
It's cruel,
Yeah, you should
yes.
never abuse any animal.
And what is your definition of animal abuse?
I mean, what could I say?
Like for
Just
me,
not treating the animal in a good way. I mean,
yeah.
animal cruelty.
Is any unnecessary harm to animals when you, like if it's any unnecessary physical or mental harm to an animal, that would be abuse. Would you
I
agree?
mean, physical is like way too much. I mean, just mentally torture. Just not keeping, just not behaving well with the animal. Not That's something which I would not appreciate.
Yeah. And then the last question is a bit more hard, but what about the animals that we bring into slaughterhouse and cut their head off for meat when we could just eat plants instead?
I mean, it all depends on the perspective. For some,
What about the perspective of the animals?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's about perspective of the people. Like some find it good, some doesn't like it. If you ask me, I personally I eat non-veg, and so if you ask me from my perspective, I think harming the animals is bad. But I eat non-veg, so what can I say?
So you would say that arming animal is bad, but you're still okay with
Yeah,
supporting animal
that's the
abuse?
hypocritic world we live in.
Well, at least you
Yeah.
admit it.
Yeah, of course, everybody has to admit one. In
Yes.
the end, we all know.
Yeah.
Like,
Like I'm not here to bring judgments. I myself paid for that for over 23 years of my life. I did consume meat and dairy and eggs, and then
yeah.
one day I just realized that I did love animals, and then I didn't have any need to actually pay for their
See, that's all.
for their
I believe
suffering.
that's all about perspective, right? Like one
Yeah.
day out of nowhere, you felt like, oh no. Then you change your
Exactly.
perspective, and then you change your mind, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I do love animals, but see, it's a hypocritical world, as I
Yeah.
said earlier. So,
So one last question that I like to ask people before they leave, and then you can just reflect on that. Is would you value your taste buds more than the life of animals?
I mean, it's a very tough question. If you ask me, like an open debate in front of everyone, I would say animals. But if you ask me, like personally, you know what I want to
When
say.
it comes to dinner time, you will
Oh
change your
yeah,
mind.
I'll be like, okay, I can have some.
Yeah.
But we generally we Indians we just eat chicken. Like
Yeah.
we don't eat meat or like any
Well,
other
a lot
animal.
of dairy though,
Oh yeah,
and then there's probably nothing more cruel than the dairy industry. Did you know that?
not really. Like how? Could you just
Why
elaborate on
why
that?
do cows produce milk?
Because they are fed and then I mean,
It's because they're mammal and they have a baby.
okay.
Cows don't just produce milk; they have to be made pregnant
Oh yeah.
and then have a baby in order to produce milk. And
Oh.
then usually they're made pregnant. They actually will rape a bull by putting a electric dildo up his ass and then collecting the semen. And then they will shove the entire arm of the ass of the cow to all the cervix and then put the semen in there. Then she'll be 9 months pregnant, just
I
like a
mean, I
human.
never knew that. That's good.
And then once the baby is born, if it's a male, he's not going to produce milk, so they're going to kill it right away. And if it's a female, they separate it and they're going to give it a soy formula that we could drink, just so we can take the milk from his mom and drink that. But like we could just drink soy milk instead, or almond milk, or oat milk.
Yeah, maybe the thing will change my perspective as well because I never knew like
Yeah,
that's
that's
that
yeah.
happens.
A lot of
Because,
people don't
as I
even know
said,
cows
I'm
are.
like, okay, cow, she
Just
just
make
gave
milk.
milk. Yeah,
A lot of
that's
people
everybody.
just
Yeah,
think
that's
that.
what-
I used to think the same myself,
Yeah,
and it's
so,
like
yeah.
once you like
It's a good point you have. So
once you
maybe
think about it, you're like,
that's
oh,
gonna
that's
change my
crazy.
perspective before I have like milk. All right, it was
Oh, you
nice
gotta go.
chatting with you,
Nice
yeah.
to meet you.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Same to you as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Animals. And then the first question is, what do you think about animals in general?
I love animals. Animals are great.
All right. Second question is, what do you think about animal abuse and people who abuse animals?
I think it's problematic. It's not good.
Great. And what would you qualify as abuse?
Physical abuse, I guess, hitting animals, and also bad conditions. Let's say living conditions.
Yeah, for me, it would be any unnecessary physical or mental harm to any animals.
Sure.
Would you
It's a good
agree?
definition. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And the last question is a bit more tricky, but what about the animals that we put into slaughterhouse and slice their throat when we could just eat plants?
Yeah, that's a fair point. It's problematic.
Yeah. That's. You have any argument against that, or
If it's abuse or what?
Would you qualify that as abuse?
I would qualify as abuse, especially with factory farming is abusive.
Yeah. And then you said you're against animal abuse.
I am against animal abuse.
And is there any industry which you currently support animal abuse?
Many industries I currently support that lead to animal abuse.
And then, do you think there's anything you could do to not support those industry?
Absolutely.
And would you consider maybe not supporting them in the future?
Sure.
Would you like some resource to maybe help you toward that directions?
Why not?
Yeah, great. All right. So here's a pamphlet. It's called Why Vegan.
Yeah.
And then
Are you
yeah,
vegan?
I am. I've been vegan for over 5 years now.
Nice.
And then I've been doing animal rights activist for maybe 3 years.
Cool.
Yes.
Awesome.
You have any
Thanks.
questions for me?
No,
No?
I like this stuff already. So,
You want to answer more questions or what?
is it more about animals?
I have other subjects too.
No, I'm okay. I'm
You
okay.
okay?
It's nice talking to you.
All right,
anyways.
no worries. Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
You want my You want my YouTube card?
I'll take it. I gotta bring the steak.
My channel is at the bottom left there. I hope
Okay,
it's a
nice.
vegan steak. All right. First question, very easy, is what do you think about animals in general?
I think they're pretty cool.
Great. Second question, a bit more hard, is what do you think about animal abuse and people who abuse animal?
I don't think they should do it.
Great. What would you qualify as abuse?
Probably physically or emotionally harming it on purpose.
Yeah, I would say unnecessarily doing any harm, either physically or mentally.
Yeah.
Would you agree? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then last question, a bit more harder, is what about the animals that we put into gas chambers and cut their head off just for meat when we could eat plants instead?
Yeah, it's probably messed up.
Do you think that's abuse?
Uh, Probably, yeah. I feel like killing anything is technically abuse.
Yeah, I would say so. That taking someone's life unnecessarily is abuse. And then, can you think of any industry which you currently support with your money that abuse animals?
Probably like McDonald's, to be honest. I eat there all the time.
Yeah. So I would say you eat meat and dairy and eggs.
Yeah.
So I would say it's probably not just McDonald's then, right?
Yeah, that's the first one I could think of.
Well, could you think of a way where we could raise animals for their products without exploiting them and abusing them?
Probably not. I feel like that'd be extremely hard, but there's probably more humane ways we could probably go about it.
I would say the only humane way I could think of getting meat is like lab-grown meat,
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
because people always talk about humane slaughter, but what does the word humane means really?
Probably fast, quick, mostly painless.
If you look in the dictionary, humanes mean to be benevolent or to be compassionate,
Yeah,
and then the word slaughter is mean brutally taking someone's life.
yeah,
You think you could compassionately kill someone who doesn't want to die,
probably not.
right? And then, do you think in the future would you want to abstract yourself from supporting animal abuse?
I'm probably still gonna eat meat.
So you're not going to want to not support animal abuse then?
No, I mainly eat chicken, to be honest. So that's like the most sustainable meat, I would say, because they take up least amount of space and probably the easiest to kill for the most part.
And what about the chicken? Do you think they want to be killed?
Probably not. I also probably don't think they know they're being killed. So ignorance is blissful.
Or do you think they know that they're being exploited in those little cages?
No, because they're a chicken.
So you think chickens don't have any mental ability?
Probably less mental ability than other animals that we kill.
And would you say that intelligence is what defines someone's value of life?
Not the whole value, but it definitely adds something.
Let's say I would have a mentally ill, handicapped brother that was as smart as a chicken. Would it be fair to exploit him for his meat?
Probably not.
So then, intelligence is not what.
I'd also be
Put
cannibalism,
value.
though, so I don't know.
Yeah, but cannibalism and cannibalism and carnism only have a fine line of morality that separates them.
Yeah. I'm not
And
gonna lie, it's going on pretty long. I gotta.
all right,
No,
well,
but-
thanks for stopping by,
Yeah, no
and
worries.
then hope you didn't think about it. Have a good day. First questions I got for you is what do you think about animals in general?
They're pretty good. I like animals.
All right. Second question, a bit harder. What do you think about animal abuse and people who abuse animals?
Um, Animal abuse is wrong.
What would you qualify as animal abuse?
Like a pet being abused.
I would qualify it as any unnecessary harm, either mental or physical, to any animals. You agree with that?
In a way, yeah.
All right. Last question, a little bit more hard, but what about the animals that we send into slaughterhouse and cut their head off to turn into meat when we could just eat plants instead?
Well, we have meat for protein and
Where do
Other
protein come from?
meat.
All proteins come from plants, and animals eat the plants and then get protein from the plants. No animal actually creates protein. They all come from plants.
Yeah, but it's a stronger protein from the meat.
What if the World Health Associations declared that a vegan diet is healthy for all stages of life, from pregnancy to infancy to old people and even athletes, and then even the world's strongest man for 3 years in a row was vegan? What would you say about that?
Maybe we'd have to switch to vegan.
Well, I'm glad to hear. Thank you. Have a good day. Oh, that went better than I thought. All right. So, first question I like to ask people, easy one, is what do you think about animals in general?
Oh, that's good. Good starting. I believe animals, they're needed. It's part of the Earth's life and everything. Uh, I'd say everything on Earth, like animal, plant, we all serve a purpose to the planet and everything above.
Great. Good answer. Second question, a bit harder. What do you think about animal abuse and people who abuse animals?
Lowest form. No,
Lowest
Right.
form. I
that
couldn't.
ain't alright.
I couldn't agree anymore. And what would you qualify as abuse?
I'd say hitting around the animals, making life poor for them when you could be giving them a good life, either in nature, which is example of like the bears here,
Yeah.
leaving them alone,
Yeah.
not provoking, but even down to like the level of your household pet,
Hmm.
making sure that they live to their fullest and,
Yeah.
you're not hindering animal's life.
See, for me, abuse would be any unnecessary harm, either mental or physical cause. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah.
All right. And then
100%.
last question is a little trickier. What about the animals that we put into slaughterhouse and cut their head off to eat, or even to wear their skin when we could use other product instead?
I think back in the day when it was more survival, it's very necessary. It's
When it
kind of a
was
needed,
necessary, yeah.
necessary where you're not going to live in like situations like that. I think has its place, but mass doing it, and actually it's a good one coming from where I come from the United States in the state of Iowa, where
Oh, yeah.
that's a very big thing. We do agriculture, but also the largest pork producer, I want to say in the world. I could be wrong there. We're a large
Could be.
pork producer. We have many kill houses, but it's not. I'd say it's not natural.
Would you say that it is abuse?
I could see certain, yeah.
Yeah.
I could see, especially depending on how it's done, and I could see, if they live a good life, might, but
Would you
it's
say that?
such an area.
Would you say that taking someone's life who doesn't want to die is abuse?
I give you somebody
Yeah.
that doesn't, and I could agree with that with the animals as well. We've come a long ways, but I think we got a little more to go.
Yeah.
Especially, I know they've been doing a few different stuff with synthetic meats, and I've been curious to see how that goes. Something
Yeah.
that it doesn't seem like when people are buying it, not natural, but
It's not natural, but at least no one has to die for it.
exactly. There's no
Yeah.
pain, there's no suffering. It's
Yeah.
there was nothing to it.
Yeah.
Um,
And another question: is there any industry that you currently give your money to would abuse animals?
I don't know for sure of clothing, depending on what I know I do a lot with cotton and like wool, but with the wool, it actually has its purpose and it helps a lot of them. So
Yeah.
I couldn't say I support too many.
What about food?
Definitely have had food that
Abuse
I'm
animals?
very almond
Almond milk?
Yeah, or no, like not carnivorous, but not also
You're omnivores.
yeah.
Yes.
I do eat both. I've partook in a little hunting in the past. It's just where I'm at in location. If you are a little harder on money, we do have certain
Yeah.
vegetables that are accessible.
Yeah.
But a big one is corn, which is good, but it's not super nutritious. So
Yeah,
a lot of
I would say you need to have a variety of food to have
Yeah.
a full nutrition.
Yep.
And then
and otherwise it's pretty expensive to get anything that actually is super nutritious. So I do say I have partaken in eating up meats, but that's just for where we're at and for I would say almost in the survival of being able to
Yeah.
financially get by, taking what we can kind of get.
yeah, I'm not here to judge. I used to pay myself for animal abuse for over 20 years of my life. And then it's like as you say, like when it comes to survival condition, I mean, I think it is justified. It might not be right, but you can actually justify the harming of another for your own survival. When it comes to prices, there's been a survey that's been done in I think it was over 100 countries or so, and then it deemed that a plant-based diet is actually 30% cheaper
Oh, really?
because all of the staple like rice, beans, potatoes,
Right.
all the cheapest food or like really like the basic of your meals, and then you can add like a few more vegetables and like a specific like foods on top of that. But of course, if you go to like Beyond Meat and like Impossible Burgers and all this, very expensive.
Yeah.
But that's also because of supply and demand. The more
That is
people buy meat, the cheaper it is, and the more people buy those products, the cheaper they will be. But also, all of the meat industry is subsidized with our taxes. We give our taxes to the
Really?
government, and they give those taxes, this money, to the farmers to make meat cheaper.
That is true. We are very much like that as well.
Yeah.
A lot of
Like-
farmers get a lot of help with it.
Yeah.
I came from a small farm,
Mhm.
so I definitely see where that is. And that's
Right now,
why the prices were so
Mhm.
different. Like for vegetables, we can grow a lot, but the meat, everything price point has always been extremely low. So when you're kind of
Yeah.
struggling, and a lot of places actually give some meat out for free, like venison for deer. I got a lot of that in the past year. It's just kind of get what you can get
Mhm.
when you don't have a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Yeah, well, it was an interesting conversation with you.
I enjoyed it.
Would you like some information to maybe switch into a plant-based diet?
But sure, I would
Yeah.
like to learn more.
Great.
And give you very open-minded when it comes.
The little
I
pamphlet over
definitely-
here. This is the why vegan. So like once you understand the why you want to be vegan, it's because obviously it's because you think treating animal badly is wrong. Then the how to become vegan is very simple. Like just put in your head, like would I want to be in the place of a pig in the gas chamber? And you're like, no. Okay, so what am I gonna do instead of paying for it? Like, and then you figure out how, and that's easy.
Yep.
Any questions for me?
Not too many.
No?
I've looked into it a little bit. I really do enjoy the lifestyle, and I've been wanting to get a little more into it. It's good.
Great. Well, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
And hope
I
you have a
appreciate
great
your
day.
talk. Hey, you as well.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Have a good day. That went quite well. So first question, pretty simple. What do you think about animals in general?
Love animals?
Great. Second question, a little bit harder. What do you think about animal abuse and people who abuse animals?
Oh, yes, they're assholes.
They are assholes. Great.
Mhm.
And what would you qualify as abuse?
Mistreatment of animals.
Great. For me, it would be any unnecessary harm, either physical or mental, to animals. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Great. Fourth question, a little bit tougher. What do you think about the animals that we put into slaughterhouse and cut their head off for meat when we could just eat vegetables?
Better to be vegan.
Great. Are you vegan?
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you very much for
You're
stopping by,
welcome. Have
and
a great day.
thank you in the name of animals.
Thank you.
Well, fantastic. It's okay. ¿Hablas español?
Sí.
Sí. I don't. A little bit. My Espanol is probably worse than your English. So. All right. So, first question is, what do you think about animals in general?
They are part of this planet. For me, it's like another person.
Great. Same for me. Okay. Next question, a bit harder. What do you think about animal abuse and people who abuse animals?
I think it's terrible that where the human think that they have the right to do that kind of thing with the animals.
And last question, a bit more provocative. What about the animal we put into slaughterhouse and slice their throat for a burger when we could just eat a plant-based instead?
Same. Terrible thing.
And is there any industry where you currently pay for animal to be abused?
But it's kind of difficult to try. I try to buy kind of stuff like vegan, like everything. You can buy a lot of stuff like reuse it and this kind of stuff, but it's difficult to find.
Would you like some information on how to become vegan easily?
Yeah.
Yes, great. I'll give you a card here. So on there are a few documentaries. You can learn more about the animals. And on here, you got Challenge 22. They will give you a nutritionist for free for 22 days and to help you build the habits. And then Happy Cow is an app where anywhere in the world, they will tell you where there's a vegan options, any restaurants around you. And there's a vegan area, another website where you can get help. And they can give you, you have any question, they can answer it. And then there's a bunch of, on this side here, there's a bunch of documentaries, some about health, some about the environment, and some are about the animals. The first here on YouTube, Gary Yourofsky's speech is like probably the most inspirational speech you'll ever hear. That's like, it's gonna make you want to become vegan right away. And then if you watch Dominion on there, that will show you exactly what happens in those industries to the animals, which is completely horrible. You have any questions for me?
No.
No? Well, thank you for stopping by. You have a great day. See ya.